I am Tina Dixon, and I am joined with Grete Eliassen, two-time X Games women's ski pipe champion, and Ashley Fiolek, who just won her second X Games gold medal. So congratulations to Ashley. And we are joined with Ashley's mother, Ronnie, who will be helping us out as well. Outside of your obvious athletic skills, your talent on the mountain and your medals that you've won and everything else that you've accomplished, what abilities have been most helpful in getting you where you are?
Well, that's a great question. Like, number one, to become where I've gotten, you have to be good at the sport that you do. I've skied since I was 2 years old, but through that I've went through ski racing, I had coaching. I learned at a really young age about managing your time, where it's supposed to go, from schoolwork to how much time on the mountain I'm going to have, to hanging out with my friends. And what I've done is really just tried to do everything. I've tried to balance it out. When people are like, oh, Greta, you should probably ski more if you want to become better at skiing, and that's usually when I'm like, that doesn't really work for me, because if I ski too much, I get burnt out and I never improve. So I need to take the time to step back and look at what I've done and think where I can go next. That's really what I've been doing.
You know, when you mentioned school, and I think so many athletes in the action sports world, not so many, but there are people that have kind of taken a step away from school, and how are you balancing that?
Yeah, like right away when I got into twin tip skiing and the US Open, X Games started having girl skiers involved. You know, all the other girls, they just, once they finished high school, they didn't go on to college. You know, after 18, they didn't even think about it. And when I was growing up in Norway, I was 18, then turning 19. I graduated when I was 19, which was normal there. And right away in my head, I was like, I'm going to go to college. Like, I was thinking, why wouldn't I? Like, all the time in my head, I'm like, all these other athletes do it. NCAA athletes get to go and get scholarships and, you know, have tutors and whatnot. And I was just like, well, I'm just going to try. So I moved from Norway to Salt Lake City, moved into the dorms first semester just to try it. That same year, I won a gold medal at the X Games, like living in the dorms. Like, I just wanted to be with my peers and people that I knew, my friends, and they were all going, you know, to classes and watching other sports. And I really think that helped me stay grounded and really see the bigger picture of my sport.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that having that balance and not focusing just on one particular sport or one thing, having that balance definitely helps. And let's move on to Ashley. Same question, outside of winning 2 X Games medals, being the rider that you are, what other abilities have been most helpful in helping you get you where you are?
I'm committed to my sponsors, and I have to help them out too. And so, you know, I have to be committed to my fans. Red Bull helps me, you know, to set up photo shoots and other things like that to help get me out there. I'm involved heavily with the media. You know, I travel over to Europe and try to do things and get myself out there. I set myself up on Twitter and Facebook and things like that and try to connect with my fans. I'm working on 2 magazine columns that I write for Trans World and Ability magazine, which involves with my deafness and things like that. So I think, you know, all that together kind of, you know, helps me to be the athlete that I am and helps me to get where I am. You know, it's not only racing and riding, it's outside things too, and being involved with other things and other ideas out there.
And I know both of you are really involved with the brands that you are sponsored by, Red Bull, Oakley, other brands. How much responsibility do you feel that you've had in taking to market yourself as an athlete, and how much do you rely on your brands?
That's another great question. I actually was almost late for this because I was down in Oceanside for an Oakley meeting, you know, feedback session. So I was down there and I'm like, I got to get back up here. And it's a lot, you know, like, for example, for skiing, snow skiing, what you wear has a lot to do with, you know, staying warm. Can you move in it? Can you hike in it? It has a lot to do with everything. And when you're on the mountain and you look at someone, you can tell who's good or not just by what they're wearing. It's true. And so the branding of and whatever skis they're on, like, you can tell. We sit on the chair, we're like, gaper, 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 like, you know. And like, what's that girl doing with all that like really cool stuff on? Like, she's obviously not that good. Like, you can tell right away. But the thing what I've done is, with the brands that I've worked with, is I've had pro models in the past, you know, making a ski specific to what I think women's skis should be, or what type of jackets and pants I think should be made, you know, out in the mountains. And a lot of times consumers don't really understand what's in or what's not on the mountain, because they go like every, you know, other weekend or something, but I'm there every day. So just, you know, my brand, what I've been doing with everyone is just trying to take what I like, you know, different styles, and explaining it to them and trying to make them understand why it's cool and what's not cool. And I guess everything I like is just pretty much who I am, you know what I mean? I say what I like and I say what I don't like, and that's basically what I've created is my brand.
And when it comes to marketing, we've got cool, now I don't have to pass the mic. When it comes to really relying on your brand, though, to market yourself, how much are you just sitting back and letting them do their thing, or how forward are you?
I'm really forward. Like, that's probably one of the main things is I'm always with Twitter. I have my blog. I try to post every day, because if you don't post every day, you lose fans. Like, I go to the Google Analytics. I see up and down what's going on. Like, I'm like, oh no, they're going down, like 200 or like 1,000 less. Like, what's happening? What did I say? Even though the season's changed. But you really have to be forward. You have to be like, well, let's make a new t-shirt. Let's call it the Grete t-shirt or something. Let's make a ski. Let's call it the Grete. You know, you have to be forward thinking like that. And for example, I'm making a ski movie this year. It's a 2-year project because it's called Say My Name, and it's an all-girls women's ski movie. And this is like the second one ever done ever. And never before has it been done with freestyle skiing, like, you know, half-pipe slopestyle, big mountain. So this is a really big project, and no one was doing it. And I was like, well, it's obviously missing from the market. So I asked my sponsors, and they're like, all right, let's make it. So we did.
And I want to kind of direct, talking about doing your own thing and paving your own path. I was speaking to Ashley earlier today about how she got involved kind of to where she is now. And let's talk about how she paved her own path.
Yeah, you know, when I first started motocross racing for women, there was nothing for the pros. They could bounce back and forth between amateur races and professional races. So, but the guys had a path that, you know, they knew which way they needed to go, and I just kind of wanted it to be the same. So me and my family, you know, kind of decided to set it up. So when I became a pro, I just only did like pro races. I didn't go back and forth to women's, and I wanted the other girls to follow, which they did. You know, I just wanted to show like the factories out there that we were responsible and professional, and you know, like Red Bull. They wanted me to do this and just kind of stay on a professional path, not go back and forth. And now all the other girls are doing it too. So I think you have to do that. Is, you know, if it's not out there, you need to maybe set up your own path, and then hopefully the other women will follow. You know, so there's more of a balance. I just think it's a really good idea. That's kind of what I've been working on for women's motocross, because they didn't really have any path. You know, like maybe follow more like X Games was, but the women's sports or the Women's Motocross Association wasn't the same, you know. So that's kind of why I kind of wanted to do that with my family and me, and to get more exposure for motocross and things like that.
Yeah, and Greta, do you want to add on to that?
Yeah, it's just like what we're doing is really never been done before. Like, we're doing different marketing sides. Like, sure, there's different sports, but like in skiing, we have to think of new ways. Like how, for example, 2 years ago, women's skiing was not on TV at X Games. This year it was finally on. So this is my 7th X Games I've been to Aspen competing. I have 5 medals from it. And this year was the first year we ever were on television. So I was thinking of different ways. How can I get my skiing out there? How can people see it? You know, and now with the internet, you can do whatever you want. You can make your own TV show. You can make your own movie and just put it on. And people that'll watch it and they'll watch it, you know? You have so many different outlets that you can use today than 10 years ago.
And Ashley, I want to kind of go back to taking responsibility for yourself and marketing yourself versus relying on your brands. Like, how much responsibility do you take?
Yeah, I think, you know, I do things myself. You know, like I travel, I visit the deaf schools, I try to motivate them, and I, you know, spread the word that motocross is out there, and you know, different things to go to. I work with the Women's Sports Foundation, and we travel and do different inspirational things and try to encourage young girls. And, you know, these are things outside my sponsors. They don't expect me to do these things. I just think it's important, especially as women, to get out there and show young girls, you know, there's things they can do. They can go out there and do things, and then you can work in conjunction with your sponsors. But these are kind of things I do on my own.
And first comes the riding, right, and having fun. And you just won your 2nd X Games medal. So again, congratulations with that. Just tell us about the experience and how it's changed your career, and also maybe just your personal outlook on things.
Well, you know, I think X Games is really good for my sport too, because you know, I race WMA, but people don't know about that. You know, but X Games, you're out there, you're in the media. You know, people recognize you that don't even know about racing or riding or anything like that. So it's definitely helpful for my career to go out there and You know, I won 2 golds, which is just fantastic, and I think it just really helps me as a person. It helps my sponsors to get out there where normally in the women's motocross, we're not on TV, so they don't, you know, they don't see it, they don't recognize it, so to go to X Games is just a huge thing. It's a big deal for us.
Do you feel a bigger responsibility now?
Well, no, I just, you know, I think, you know, my job has always kind of been to get my sport out there, and it's something I love to do, so I think this just helps all the girls and all the women out there, you know. I think it kind of puts us out on the map, and it just feels good to kind of lead the way, I guess, and then hopefully everybody else is following.
Okay, and Greta, we'll go back to you, actually. Being a high-profile and talented female athlete, have you struggled with balancing out, I guess, having more credibility for your skiing versus looks, or how do you balance that?
Yeah, when I was younger, to me, it was just about skiing. Like, I didn't even think about it. I'm like, I looked at other women athletes, and I was like, why are they in bikinis in magazines? This is so stupid. I'm a young consumer, and I'm looking at this, and like, this is not helping, like, sell product to me at all. Like, I did not understand it. I was 13, 17, whatever. I just didn't get it. I was just like, why don't they just show action shots of the girls skiing or whatever? I kind of grew up. Now I'm 23, and, you know, things change. You know, you start to become an adult, and you start to understand that maybe the girls that you hang out with, they actually like that kind of stuff, and that's how they buy their products. So I think for an older, like, you know, consumer, it kind of works, and the guys kind of look at you more. But I don't think you should use it. Like, for example, I'll say right now, I'll never, like, stand up in bikini, like, for a magazine, whatever. Maybe it'll be on my blog, but that'll be about it. Probably be seen more anyways. But the thing is, I don't think in the long run it doesn't help at all. It's very short term if you do something like that, but it's hard because people pressure you, but you just have to stay. For me, it's always been like staying true to my morals and what I believe in, what that 14-year-old girl that like myself was thinking back then, and she didn't like it, so I know that.
All right, and you mentioned your blog, you have your website, and I noticed you update it all the time. You're very, very good about that. Just talk about that as an athlete and how it's helped you.
It's helped me a lot. Like, it's so weird when I go and meet someone for the first time, like, oh yeah, I follow your blog. I'm like, what, really? Like, to me, it's so surprising. Like, I didn't realize it had such an outreach, but it really does make a huge difference. Like, people like I love reading blogs. I read all my friends' blogs, and it's just a better and nice way to get the news that you want at certain times, and it's hard. Like, you have to log in, you have to find internet, you have to update, you got to find pictures that people are going to look at, but like my sister said, she's like, Greta, like the next day, she's like, you didn't update your blog yet. She's like, it's getting really boring. I'm like, sorry, I'll get on it right away. Like, she's even like, really, she likes it too, and she sees my life every day.
Have you noticed a difference within?
Oh yeah, I see a huge difference. Like, one time, like, for example, a Norwegian newspaper during X Games put like just my website, like linked to my GreteEliassen.com, and it was like 10,000 people went on in that day. You know, like, that's amazing. One little link, like, from a little newspaper in Norway. So it makes a huge difference, and I think the fans like it. And for example, if you want content, you can they know where to find it. It's easy.
And I know, Ashley, when I Googled your name, of course, everything popped up because you've just won another X Games medal. But let's talk about your website. With Red Bull, you have a great relationship with them. And let's talk a little bit about that relationship and also how effective that site has been for you. And if you haven't gone on it, she's got a really cool intro to her getting ready to ride. You should check it out.
Yeah, Red Bull came to me and they wanted to do my website, but I had to sign a contract, so I would work with them. So I made sure I update my Twitters and Facebooks and things like that, or they didn't want to do it, you know. So they came and they did a video. And it shows me like getting ready and all that, and you know, and they won like all kinds of awards for it. But it's really cool because it puts me out there, and people go to it, and through my Twitter they find it, and then they go to my website, and I think it just kind of really puts me out there, and it's a good way to talk to your fans and keep everybody updated. And they put like all my race results and everything, so you know, it goes up immediately, and all the stuff I put up goes immediately too. And you know, I think even if you're not involved with motocross, you can see, because it shows me riding and things like that, so then people kind of get into it and can see what it's all about. So it's a huge thing.
All right, and then just outside of your contractual obligations with your sponsors or being on the mountain or riding, how much responsibility do you feel just being a professional athlete? What other obligations do you feel that you have?
Well, for me, now that you know, I'm in the spotlight and people are looking, they're always seeing, what is she doing? Maybe, like, they follow my blog all the time, like, well, why is she at school right now? Shouldn't she be on the mountain, like, skiing? So sometimes I'm like, people always know what I'm doing. That's kind of like, that's hard, because it's like you don't have any secrets anymore. It's like you have this lifestyle that everyone knows about, especially with Twitter, and someone's like, oh, what are you doing today? Like, duh, read my Twitter. Hello, it's there. Like, I don't know. I think that's a stupid question when people say that, because it's like, do you have a phone? Hello. But it's hard, because you have to live up, like I said, like I have certain standards that I've set for myself, and I have to fulfill those.
And Ashley, what about you? I know you're involved in a lot of organizations.
Yes, there's a lot of different things. We have to keep updated with Twitter and your fans and stuff like that, just check things out. But I'm involved with the Women's Sports Foundation, and I go every year to help them out, and we do different things to help them out. And then I'm also a strong believer in the deaf community and helping them out and trying to inspire them. And I travel to different schools and things like that. So it's just like different things, But I like doing it too, because I feel like I'm giving back to my community, and I'd like to try to help. Deaf people sometimes feel like they can't do things, and I'd like to just kind of help them out and let them know that they can do it.
I want to say one other thing too. I'm also a member of the Women's Sports Foundation, and the thing what's so great about the foundation is all these women that have paved the way before us are members of foundation, and it's like talking to them, being like, oh yeah, I was the first woman to race Indy, and it's like, wow, and you can really get information from them. And it's also really great to remember where, like, my mother, for example, started with Title IX, fighting for the right to play, like being able to play sports in school, like that was unheard of for them, for my grandmother, and now it's like we can't forget what they had to fight for, and so we can't forget what they fought for in order to do what we do now. Like that, it's really important to remember.
All right, well, we can open it up now to anyone out there with questions. First of all, thanks for being here, and congratulations to both of you on all your accomplishments.
I just want to know what other sports they do.
Well, I grew up playing every single sport there was: basketball, golf, tennis, soccer, baseball, water skiing. I went wakeboarding this morning at 6 a.m. Like, I do basically every sport there is. But my family was always a skiing family, so in the wintertime we would ski.
And what about you, Ashley?
I used to do track and cross country and basketball at school. It also helped me train and get ready for motocross too. But now I've been wakeboarding, and now I've been kind of getting into snowboarding. Not really good at it. I keep coming back to motocross, but I like doing like every kind of sport. So.
For those of us who do follow you on Twitter, Greta, we see you're in school a lot and always studying and cramming just like an average college student. Where do you see yourself after competition ends? And you're obviously a business student, so taking this side of the industry really seriously. Do you want to be on this side, interviewing panelists next time?
I love everything. Like, I never get bored as long as I'm doing something. And I'm going to the David Eccles School of Business at the University of Utah, getting a business management degree right now. And that is the question, like, what am I going to do the next couple of years? Of course, I'm going to ski, but then what after? My dream, like right now today, would be to start a women's sports network. Be a part of something like that. Because during the Olympics, when NBC was playing, every day I would go on, like, we gotta watch the Olympics, because I knew there was a female sport on TV. So I would turn it on, and I'd be like, oh, speed skating. Don't know anything about this, but I'll watch it. It's a female. Great. So I think something like that, helping some way, everyone that's coming after me in some way like that, I want to do.
All right, and with that, I think we're finished. I'm just getting wrapped over here, so it's lunchtime. Thank you, guys.